Yeah, we run it out. Might as well. Uh, uh, ooh, this is odd. Okay. I'm gonna. Oh, oh, okay. Okay, so we got two microphones and two little speaker things here. And actually, yeah, well, that's it. So, gonna use that to find some entertainment here. Let me put this in here. Uh, there. Okay. Somehow this will work in some way. Let me um, get this perfectly untuned guitar. Well, it's uh, I'll do this. This next song is it's a song sort of about uh, an evolution and forward movement in this evolution of life that we have and all this. Oh, I'm listening to side chatter and it sounds good, you know. Anyway, it's sort of a uh, this okay. When I sit in contemplation of the human situation, I get a certain sense of pride. All achievements are many and mighty. The evidence cannot be denied, but my reverie is shaken. My thoughts are often taken by that tragedy that happened long ago when there's a land beings awesome and grand, the fabulous, the stories, they were creatures in a man of quite reptilian in their unique and stylish ways. They're to be reckoned in the millions. There is zero of these heroes in the world today. They had music, arts, and fashion. There was dinosaur passions that meant they'd be arranged and modified. Oh, when they're mentioned today, it is only to say their brains were small and they died. Da-dum, dum, da-dum, dum, da-da-da-da, dum, dum. Well, perhaps an asteroid that Mother Earth could not avoid became the agent of their premature demise. They say that these things can happen Are we criticized when we'll spend most any time? See out the device that was suicide. Well, I would feature instead that the humanoid head is where the training will be. And on our start to crumble, still nothing can be found. In 10 billion years, some of the guys will stumble on our fossil, some Peruvian found some scientific study. It was cockroach science, buddy. How the evidence could never deny it. We're big, dumb, and slow. They couldn't go below. We're small and they died. Uh, that was a piece by this guy from, I think, Portland. Mark Graham wrote that, and it was just a charming little tune. But the cockroaches, and then, hey, cockroaches, if you're a cockroach, you can be really, really beautiful. Everything's all in the eye of the beholder. If we were squids, could you see what we could, or octopi, octopuses, what beauty would be for us. So wherever we go in that thing, it's just what we have inside here that we're carrying and looking out of. That's the big deal. But anyway, here's a song about, well, something that, I went to this little seminar kind of thing they had on the homeless about a year ago. And it really woke me up to something I hadn't realized before. They did out of a pool of about 1,200 homeless here in Lake County. They found out that out of the 1,200, 500 were children. And this is what knocked me off, was 85% of the homeless here have been living here an average of 20 years. So these are the people we grew up with, that we love, that we know, or maybe not love, but with the people that, we've spent our life with, part of our tribe, our community, our village, our remembrances and scenes. And we're finding ourselves in a position where we're not really able to help them. But if there was like land or something that would give just the basics, where, I mean, a tent or a small home, and if somehow county, I mean, with all the, that's pretty far flipping the pool. But if somehow some land could be gotten, that could be put aside and set up whatever for the sewage or something, that just to take care of what we have locally, our neighbors, the people we grew up with, that 85%. And if the 15%, that are left, willing to throw in and make this place beautiful, like all of us that have lived here want to see it. I mean, we're no longer, we've got people from all over the world that are living here now and part of our village and our community, and which is really good because we need that difference, that diversity, that perspective, that where we might be, just stuck on a solution. You've got somebody, because of an entirely different outlook and way, that comes up with something that we wouldn't have thought of, and it works, and so we got to really, because who knows how the politics are going from up there. It's a whole different world. But what we got here locally is what we have, and this is what counts. And they can go crazy, but if we've got things working well for us here, we're all set. And that's what we really need, because this is, the society that's been around here for the 15,000 plus years to 20 over 22. Anyway, for those thousands and thousands of years, was together enough that they didn't wipe themselves out and go through all these different changes, like all these other Johnny come lately governments that went through, the Greeks and the Romans and the, what do we got here now? That's just about, but when it comes to what we have locally, and we've already got like Constitution, Bill, or we've got the framework, and if we have it exercised here and are educating, all the what we have here, because education is a big deal. There's been a massive dumbing down. They tried to get rid of phonics, for crying out loud, off in the 80s. we really need to be educating, kids, getting businesses and things happening here, and kind of getting things cooperatively so that we can get them going and work out, this stuff. I think, you know, I really see us making paradise right here. We've got all the makings, we've got the people, we've got the things, and it's just how do we set it up? How do we look like the societies that have been here for those thousands of years, where governance is run in a circle? It's people all throwing in and all working on the common thing rather than this whole pyramidal structure, which you got at some chief at the top and, and telling you and all this stuff and money running the whole thing or the oil company or whatever. If we get around and start our thing here, ground level, local governance and everything, we're going to make it, and we're going to be living better than billionaires. We're going to get all those dreams happening. And that's my firm belief, is that we've got the makings right here locally, and we got to go with that, because like I said, when you look at what's coming out of the top, it's just polarity and division. And hey, when it comes down to it, a lot of our political beliefs and lefts and rights and all the different divisions and all this stuff is it's how are we just locally? How are we to each other? What do we mean to each other? And there's nothing on that. Let's accept everything that we've got. If you vote for Trump, hey, wonderful. You voted for Biden, or have it, hey, great. It's how things locally. How are things? And we care for the kids. We care for all the things that are really important, and that's somehow, if it brings back to that circle on governance, we'll be okay. We'll make it. And anyway, that's a sort of prelude to this kind of song. It's a old coffee house song that I don't know who wrote it. I heard it something like a Van Ostrin, or I really don't know. Going down to the river, going to take along the rocket chair. If the blues don't get me, I'm gonna rock. Going to rock away from here. I'm putting my head down on the track and let the 219 come along. Going to pacify my mind. They arrested me in the town down south. I had empty pockets. I was down the mouth. They locked me up and they gave wormy food. I had a dirty self, so I walked that guy and I realized that sheriff, he still asking around about me. He put on down that railroad line. I got a heavy load, got a worried mind, looking for a place to finally settle down. And there's just one thing I'd like to know, that where can this poor man go when he's tired of traveling round town to town? Watching the way again, just on top of the bay.
watching the tide roll away, sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
Uh, I kind of goofed up on the chords. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
Headed for the Frisco Bay, I had nothing to live for. Look like nothing's gonna come our way. So, sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, sitting on the dock of the bay, waiting time. Whistle. Oh, Ah, oh, I hate that. uh,
You see, there was a group from New York, around 67, 60s, early 60s, Bros Before Swine. They were sort of a folk group, a little punky on some of the songs, a little jazzy on some others, but Pearls Before Swine. And anyway, I was a fan of theirs. I still am. There was a Virgin King to know what he could say on every occasion. That would always be so. Oh, illusions, circles, and changes. Illusions always changing, like the wind and the rain, like the wind and the rain. He summoned three wise men from his eternal throne. One from each border gave them his word to find words of his truth. Illusions, circles, and changes. Illusions always changing, like the wind and the rain, like the wind and the rain. He's summoned. The wise men thought so hard, born in the day. These words to say on every occasion. These things soon shall pass away. Illusions, circles and changes. Illusions always changing, like the wind and the rain. Wind and the rain. Yeah, that was, like I said, Pearls Before Swine with a little errant thought jumping in the middle. But yeah, Tom Rapp was the sort of composer leader on that group, and it's really worth checking out. I mean, some of the stuff that came out, I mean, in the 60s, we've heard such a great amount, but there's so much more out there that really said some real strong, real stuff, on perspective, on how we see things. And, we've got to put a lot of it to use right now. I mean, as far as, our society is what we make of it. It's what we have right now. This is it. And where do we go from here? That's where the new discussions are. And oh, anyway, if somebody'd like to come up, okay.
So I want to say thank you to everybody that's come. Some people have come and left, and some people are yet to come, but everybody is welcome. Help yourself and whatever the pizza and what such not. There's a little comment sheet if anybody wants to comment on the name change. Please feel free. But right now I'm going to introduce. Most of you already know Clayton Duncan. Longtime resident, Robinson Rancheria, and he's gonna speak to us on what he's gonna have to say.
All right. And here's a volume. Let me see. Here's a volume control. Yeah, so any of the knobs.
Okay. Hello. Yeah, they can hear me. Okay. I'm from what they say Robinson Rancheria, but really we're on the area we're in. We're on the Milha Village site where Robinson is right now. Robinson was an old board of supervisors in the 1880s or 70s or something, and he did a lot of damage to the county on that side, or the north side, and down there by Elam. He we found out the history about him, but that's who we're named after. We're named after that guy, Robinson Rancheria. Our original village is from Lucerne. Lucerne was our village, and it was called Shecum. And it's Standing Blanket. That's the name they used over there. That's my great grandfathers and my great great grandmothers. That's where they stayed. And Robinson took all of those people from Lucerne, I guess, to make the town of Lucerne or whatever they were doing, and they moved them on the Highway 29. And that's where I was raised up. But there's a lot of history there also. My mom was sharing with me a lot of the old women there. The grandmother, the grandmothers and the great grandmothers on the north side of the old Robinson Rancheria. They would go right down there on the east side of the rancheria. There's a creek, and there's a sandbar there, and they would go there and have their babies there. They would have their babies, go there at night, and come back the next day carrying a baby. And the women didn't need, I guess, the hospitals to have their babies. They had it down, I guess. Those water births, right? I'm not sure. I don't know. I didn't hear that one. But all I know is that they went down that area and came back and had babies there. like I said, I was raised up there. I played around that area and stuff, but then I came back. And a lot of us that came back from the cities, from this relocation termination, I left when I was 9 years old, I think it was, in 1959, and came back when I was 26 years old, or no, 28 years old. And I swear, man, when I came back, I felt like I stepped back in time because it was still, you can say a lot of words here that you can't say today because it's illegal. You know what I mean? And so, and it's for the people around there, you know, because I was drinking then, you know, I was drinking alcohol, and I was playing pool, I was a good pool player. So I go to all these bars and beat everybody at pool. And they get pissed, you know, and say all these nasty words. But I was only 28 then and pretty good shape. And said, well, let's go outside. but but it was like also Bloody Island. It was called Bodon Napati. The owner was going to build a home there. He was digging a trench to make the foundation, and we was at the local bar at Verge in Upper Lake, and the workers were talking about it, and they said that he dug up a skeleton on Bloody Island. There's a skeleton on Bloody Island. I'm pretty sure it was the chief, the Wheeler. I think it's him buried on top of that mountain. And then they said he put it back and he started tapping it down to try to look like, you know, nobody bothered it or whatever, because it's illegal to do that. And then I heard about it, so I went over and asked them, and they told me. And so that was a Friday. I was looking for people to help me protest because, you know, I'm fresh out of Oakland, just came from Alcatraz and all that. So I had that protest energy in me, I had that fire, you know, still burning in me. And only one I could find was my uncle, Sandy. And it cost me a coal pack to take him over there. And we got interviewed by the record B. And anyway, we stopped him from building a home on Bloody Island. And that was 1979. But the island still, you know, has that body there. The island still is not in our possession. You know, it should go back to us. There was a burial grounds there, and that burial grounds was used for the road underneath Highway 20. So they took all those 800 people that got killed. And I'm not sure all of them were buried in that same spot, but there was a lot of them floating on the water, they said. And they floated out there on the lake, and they were on the lake, and there was a lot of dead bodies around in 1850, May 15th, 1850. Well, so when I found that out, I went to a meeting for the Army Corps of Engineers because that's what they did. And I asked them about it. And they didn't tell me nothing. They wouldn't answer me. They wouldn't say anything to me. And just kind of avoided me, you know. But who's responsible for that desecration of those people? You know, who's responsible? And we're just avoided like we're invisible. I got skin, I got hair, I'm real, I got brains too. You know, I got false teeth, but you know, I'm still chewing up food and stuff. But I'm real, I'm a human being, and I'm tired of being treated like we're not here, like we're left out of the conversation, you know? And we've been here for thousands of years. Now, new research is saying we've been here for 100,000 years. Okay? There's new research out there. We're old people here. We're a spiritual people. We're a praying people. That's the only way you can live in harmony. The only way you can live in balance is when you pray for your water. You pray for everything that you do. You give it thanks, especially the earth and all the food, the animals, the plants. You give it thanks. And so you keep that balance, you keep that harmony going when you do that, you know. And you can't do that by killing each other off thousands at a time and stealing each other's land and stealing each other's resources and all that. I mean, like, that doesn't work, you know. Balance doesn't work then. And so with what little people we have here, I mean, when I first done this in 2007, tried to change the town's name, I felt like I was all by myself. Not even the natives were behind me. You know, I was out there, and matter of fact, one tribe tried to stop me. Okay, and so now I see a little at a time people coming in saying, "No, look, you know, we could hear you now." I heard a saying said, "When people mess around with truth and they're truthful people, well, they can hear that message." And people that don't want the truth, you know, they're trying to stop us. No, we don't want to change the town's name. Why? This is the rapist of little Indian girls. They rape little Indian girls. Why are you honoring that? Makes no sense to me. I wouldn't honor nobody that raped your little girl. So why are you honoring somebody that raped our little girls? That's what we're saying, and nobody's listening, except for the people like you people right here now. You're finally hearing it. So thank you. Finally, thank you. And so, and then I thank Andy Weiss. I want to thank Andy Weiss for giving us this voice. He's poor Andy, he's, down and out now, and he needs our energy of prayer. We need to pray for the man. You need to ask the ancestors, please keep the man around for a little longer. When we love somebody that much, you want to pray for them. That was done for me. I caught cancer in 1999. And me and my wife thought, oh man, it's over. I'm going to be gone here another couple months, maybe a year or whatever. I didn't know how long. But I'm still here. I went to the sun dances. I went to the roundhouse. I went to all these places and asked for prayer. And I got it. And in the sun dance, they told me that in the sweat lodge, they told me the old people were in there and they were doctoring me because they appreciate what I'm doing over there. Where I'm from. This was in Nebraska. He said, whatever you're doing in back home, the old people said they appreciate it, and they were in there doctoring you to keep you around for a little longer. I believe this stuff, all that spiritual stuff, I believe it deep inside my heart, man. I mean, I went through things spiritually that I've never felt before in my life. Never went through it in Oakland, for sure, It was just street life in Oakland. I lost a brother down there, and somebody shot him down there. And I still miss the guy. He was 19 years old when that happened. I was 22, but it still hurts. As a matter of fact, he came to me, in a dream. He told me he's okay. The spirit world's beautiful, brother, man. You can come back with me if you want to. So I started him, and then he brought another guy with him. I go, who'd you bring with you? He said, this is your brother Daryl that you lost when he was a year and a half. I was 3 years old when my brother Daryl died, but he was with him. He was same size as I am, almost as good looking. But we hugged, and I hugged him, and I felt his body. And he told me the spirit world is beautiful. It's beautiful. People don't drink. People don't have money. People don't, need mansions. People don't need none of that stuff. It's nothing but love, caring, sharing. So again, I want to thank you guys for coming today. And next year, it'll probably be twice as big. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Little fires start big fires. And we're a big fire, one family. Thank you. Oh, yeah. This is our new T-shirt for the sunrise ceremony. We're giving that guy that wants to try to be a president, the fake president, we're giving him a message. This is our land. This is our home. So leave us the hell alone. And we're selling these T-shirts for $26 because we want to feed people the 16th and 17th. We want to have a dinner that night and then breakfast the 17th. So we're selling T-shirts to make money for that. So, okay. And Doug, you want to say a few words? I wanted to share too with my great grandmother, and my mom said every morning she would get up and go on a porch. Every evening she would go out there on the porch, and she would stand there and we'd say, "Oh, Wahadika," and she would pray. She did that every day, and I know what she was talking about. She said, "Don't let this happen to my children, my grandchildren, my great grandchildren." I know she was praying for that. And so one day when it's my turn to go to the spirit world, I'm hoping Grandma's standing there and she grabs me and hugs me and says, "Grandson, you did a good job." That's gonna make me happy. So.
Good afternoon. Okay, we'll go this way.
Yeah. This one's working too now.
It's working, baby. Got it on?
There you go.
Answer 1, 2, 3.
All right, no, the king isn't alive right here. This is Doug Duncan. As you can see, I'm Clem's younger brother. We look alike.
I think I look better.
But anyway, my heart always falls out My wife used to say, "Why you cry so much?" I said, "I've been crying all my life." My brother said when he left at 9 years old, I left at 5 years old. But I remember those 5 years in the old land and stuff. Having to grow up in the city to be assimilated, to be an American, to be the Indian that they want, short hair, proper educations and all that stuff. Well, I had all that, but my heart was here. And as I taught you, you see me, I'm looking at the sky. I'm not looking at your eye. I'm looking at God's eye, that blue sky. That's just the beauty of this place. And to be here to share just friendships, talk with different people today and stuff. My mom used to always say, when are you going to come home? When are you going to come home? I said, when you satisfy the society out there, I guess. I had a stroke in November, and Creator blessed me to let me have my body the way it is, and never paralyzed anything, take away from me, my voice, my thoughts, and everything, good memories. So I wanted to share with you, like I say, my brother does the media side, and he likes to talk and stuff like that because he's used to doing that. I do a little bit, but mine's in sharing the prayers and the song. Like I told one of the ladies, when you feel this wind, that's the spirits. That's the one that's coming through and sharing with us and stuff, passing by to let you know they're here. I had my spiritual dream back in '99, and it was about keeping the warmth. I'll share that with you because my dad I lost when I was 14, and like you said, my brother when I was 18 at the time. And there's ways of learning, there's the Christian ways, there's the Native American ways, there's the Hindu, there's the Muslim, everybody has their beliefs. But who has the truth? We don't know. We all share what we feel is the truth. So in mine was a dream that I went and I met with these two spirits. They were dark figures, had no faces, they were just dark figures. And I said, "What are you?" And the larger one said, "We're spirits." I said, "Well, how do you exist?" I said, "Through the warmth." Well, what do you mean the warmth? The warmth of your heart keeps our spirit alive. We have the power to make you think of us, but when we do, it diminishes our spirit and pushes us further away. So it's up to you to keep the spirit alive through the warmth of your heart, and we'll be there. Oh, that's pretty heavy. But what's it like in the spirit world? Well, if you believe, we show you. So yeah. So we were standing by some big old Conan doors, redwood doors or something, a few feet away, whatever. The tall one went forward, he went through the wall. I'm like, whoa. So I looked at the other one, he went through, but his butt was sticking out. I go, "What happened?" He goes, "No one's thinking of me." So I closed my eyes and I thought of my brother. Kicked him in the butt and he went through. I go, "Oh, wow." So now I'm standing in front of that door and I said, I just told him I believed. I stepped forward. I came out. This mountain, this lake, these tulies, the oak trees, all nature. No buildings, no houses, no telephone poles, nothing. Birds flying in the sky, the ducks skimming along the water, the little black birds swaying on the tulies, the blue jays in the oak trees. I looked around and said, "How beautiful." I looked to the right, and my dad and my brother are standing there under the tree. In a flash, I'm in my dad's arms, holding him, feeling like this. "Dad, I want to stay with you." He goes, "You can't. You tell the people about the warmth, then you can come home." This is how my heart's felt for the last 26 years of having that since that dream. And that's why, coincidentally, 26 years we're doing this again. And like I told brother back then, when he said, "Okay, we did it 4 years. We're thank you everybody, and that's it. We're done." I said, "No, my spirit, my heart, I'll share with you and the spirits here that came to me in that dream back then, and the night we were going out there. Yeah, it's one of the ones that didn't make it. The little babies, aunties, uncles, and grandmas, grandpas that didn't make it that day. This is what it's about. The healing and forgiving because their spirits were trapped in between. I've dealt with the spirit that was trapped here. It wasn't native. I found out later that he was an elder Caucasian man that died of a heart attack in my house where I live at in Oakland. But he was connected with me since I was 15 years old when he first sat in the bed next to me and cried. And I saw him. And I was afraid at that time, like, who's this here? You know, but in time I learned. And then so I finally did a ceremony with him and let him go, let his spirit go home. And as he left, his grandson came to my house from San Diego 2 days later. Because I had a great dream of my grandfather 2 days ago, and he told me to come here. You know, I live in Oakland. You don't have very many Caucasian people in my neighborhood. And to have a gentleman standing there looking at my house like, can I help you? My grandpa told me to come here. And we talked, and he goes, yeah, because he died of a heart attack in your house 2 years ago in the back room there where I saw him by himself. That's how that spirits work. A lot of people don't understand those things. Don't expect them. You know, some of you may walk away and say, yeah, okay, right. I know in my heart, Paraka, God, Creator, knows also. So I want to share a song with you. It's a miracle song that has been given to me, and send that with you. And I ask you to pray for yourself, for your strength, for your health. We're all elders. We're all going happy hunting grounds or heaven or wherever.
Pray for the people that's trying to stop the name.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't done yet. You know, you gotta pray for all the people, but I say pray for yourself first, so you're strong enough to do go to that battle, to go there with that shield and the sword that they speak of and stuff, that you can use this here to convince them, to let them, to open up their eyes and open up their hearts and know and realize what is really there, and not be so greedy in their ways. So this is what we call a miracle song. So, you know, like I said, during that time, you know, pray for yourself and pray for your family and pray for the community and everything. Hey yo, hey, hey yo, hey, hey yo, hey, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey. Yo, yo, hey, hey, yo, yo, hey, hey, yo, yo, hey, hey, yo, hey, yo, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey. Yo, yo, hey, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo.
All right. Thank you for letting me share that with you. Like I say, that people don't realize, I mean, everybody has their own ways of doing things. The spirit to me is this wind. The beauty and the love is here in these children out here. And that's what I heard in their song as I sang it and stuff. The happiness that they have and the love that Creator has given to us. And for like a brother out here, I heard him also. Well, these are things that you got to go deeper into your spiritualness and find, and God Creator give you these blessings to you. 4 heart attacks and 1 stroke. I'm still hanging. Thank you very much. Oh.
Thank you for that. No surprise that Ben came up right about that. Some of you remember me. I was on the Lake County Board of Supervisors for 2 years. My name is Michael Green, and I was one of the votes in favor of the name change. No applause. But I want to speak to my journey a little bit, just because Verge, I hear you and your hope for aspirational governance and I'm here to buzzkill all that. But in a positive way, you know, because the history of governance, all human governance, is one step forward, two steps back. And so I think it is right to honor what the board did in December and all the efforts that led into it, both from citizens from Healing and from our tribal elders like Clayton, who has made it real and made it your journey for 50 years now. But I'm also reminded through the political process, the reality of Lake County as it is right now. Number one, how momentous that was, but also how weird and bumpy and the pushback is coming. And so, and one reason I think the pushback is coming, not to overshare my personal journey, but I was born and raised in Fresno. The closest tribe we had was, you know, that I knew of was up in the Auburn foothills. You know, the whole idea that I would know about the Yokuts that inhabited the valley floor, you know, you can't even recognize the valley floor anymore. So everything in my life, it was about those Indians, right? And even in my own white liberal way, I was always supportive of Indian rights, but I didn't know squat. I land on the board of supervisors, and suddenly it became, in a very real sense, my job to understand the history of 7 tribal nations within what is now Lake County, and understand they do not all have a shared vision of the name change in particular, right? Not everyone this far down the road, 150 years after Andrew Kelsey and Ben and Charles Stone and all that were creating the troubles in this county. I didn't know that history. I just landed in Lake County in 2014. How could I possibly know? But it became my job to know. In May 2023, I believe, the Bloody Island ceremony, I slept in. I couldn't get up at sunrise. I couldn't be bothered to get to Bloody Island, but I did I tried to atone for it later, and I stood on the shores of Clear Lake in Lakeport, and without any benefit of AI, I just tried to unwind all the housing, all the crappy housing developments and all the buildings all along North Lakeport, all around the lake, and try to imagine this land before the white settlers came in. And then it washed over me, even though I wasn't at Bloody Island. You could feel the energy, you could hear the screams. You just, if you take the time to open your heart to any fraction of what our tribal elders have been telling us, you cannot not be moved by that. So that was my introduction, a kind of half-assed remembrance. And then May of last year, I was able to make it to Bloody Island and saw Clayton and a good handful, but a relative handful. You know, it's the biggest contingent I saw was a Boy Scout troop from El Dorado County, made the trip over. And I was so appreciative of them. But as far as the young people that need to hear this history and need to be moved in ways that I was and Clayton was, they just weren't there. And so the reality of our society here in Lake County right now, whether you're on the left or the right, we're all segmented and we're all getting our information from different channels, whether it's YouTube or OAN or whatever. And if you look back at the history of humanity, we've always been isolated. We've always never had a shared history. So how do we get there? And I don't have an answer for that. I'm just sharing. That's part of the difficulty. The thing I want to talk about, the 2 steps back, is although we did get a positive outcome in December before the Board of Supervisors, it was not without cost. The 3-2 vote, Moak and EJ and myself, was attended with what I think was a mistaken effort to settle it by the ballot box. And so that advisory measure U, even though it does have the word advisory in it, many people view that as binding. And even if they were supportive of the name change, they're really upset that we would somehow overcome the will of the people. But the point I made when they were calling the election is, if you look at the federal process that we were supposed to follow, it wasn't a popularity contest. It wasn't supposed to be a show of hands of what you want to name this place. The metric was, is this name offensive to an ethnic group? And file that under duh, you know. But if you were sitting up on the dais and you were literally watching on December 10th,
the group of Kelseyville people that were really upset, most of whom don't live in Kelseyville proper, a lot of them live in the Riviera. And then the tribal elders and the young folks sitting in the room right next to them, and they weren't even making eye contact. So that you can give the most powerful testimony, but if they're not there with a willing heart to listen to it, and it's just like, well, that was 150 years ago, I guess I can get over it now. How do you overcome that? And I don't have an answer for that either. So we did what we did at the county level in January. Opponents of the name change came back heavy, and they really wanted to lean into the new board and get it reversed. For various legal reasons, that couldn't happen. Many of you have probably heard there is an effort, at least a baby effort. I don't know if it'll get traction, to recall Supervisor Pyska for her role in this. And that would be the most stupid thing ever. It's like, I may disagree with one or two things along the step, but who forced her hand? Who started barking? Who spent the most time and energy and money opposing this name change? Who spent the most time and energy dividing this community? It was not Citizens for Healing. It was not the tribes. It was not. You want to look at the record of what's going on here. The people that stirred things up with Buckingham folks and the Riviera folks and all that, who started the signage way before Measure U was a twinkle in the Board of Supervisors' eye. And having stirred up enough crap, then we did have that advisory ballot measure. And now everyone's hanging their hat that we somehow violated the will of the people. Well, no. The only thing that came before the board was, here's a federal petition. Should we change the name or not? Here's the criteria. What do you think? And even the Board of Supervisors vote was advisory. And now, unfairly, I believe, if the recall does proceed, they're going to try to punish Supervisor Pyska. So next steps, political advocacy is hard. Campaign committees are hard. I do think the Kelsey people made some mistakes in the campaign they did for Measure U. So I want to go back to Verge's comments. In an ideal world, we would just all agree and all grooviness. And what do we do to take care of us right now? But I just came from a 2-hour food drive at the Gleaners. They're about to lose their federal funding, a certain orange-haired wonder. And even there, people are like avoiding eye contact, speeding off at the stop sign. They could not be bothered to even scrape together a box full of canned goods for people in need here. And even more amazing is like 1 out of 4 cars that were stopping were actually stopping in hopes they could get food instead of donate food. The last food giveaway they had there, they had more than a mile of people, 600 cars stretched down stone. The need is so great. So the manager, the lady's name.
So they count each car fed?
Yeah, they keep counts. Yeah.
That's got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So the need is so great. So, and again, I just wanted to share a part of my journey. I have paid a little bit of a price since my vote. It's cost me some friendships. It's cost me some organizational memberships and what have you. And I'm okay with that. So if you face the challenges as these next steps move forward, I want to honor you too for your leadership that has taken us to this point, for understanding that this is going to take a while, and the most likely scenario in the short term is going to be countering the pushback that has come from this vote. It is supposed to go to the state. Where are you? Yeah, it is supposed to go to Kagan, the California geographical names thing, and hopefully there's a good outcome. But as I was explaining, I wouldn't necessarily rush that, because as soon as it gets out of Kagan and goes to the federal government, they're going to kill it. Right. So sometimes less is more, sometimes slow playing your next steps in the petition, if it's possible. But Kagan meets quarterly. They didn't do this in February, but they may come back in May or something like that. So you as a group are going to have to decide, you as a community are going to have to decide. But there's, if you did suffer some adverse impacts, if you're feeling isolated after that vote, welcome to my world. But events like this are so important to reconnect and re-energize and recommit yourselves. This is a worthy cause. Clayton, it's been your cause, and I hope we can cheer you up in shouldering part of that burden. But I know we can't do it alone, and what I've seen of the community since that election has not been super encouraging. So just keep on keeping on when the naysayers come out, and they will. Just be strong. Learn how to do the little heart thing. You know, I've been at a couple of the protests at Library Park, and you're getting a lot of F this, F that, and all that. Just shower them with love. Let's go back to the 60s. That part works, right? So nonviolent protest, love, peace, freedom, all those messages are very groovy. Will they get us a perfect local governance structure, especially with the Board of Soups as it's currently constituted? Probably not. But be aspirational, not just in the ideas, but when the rubber meets the road and the recall petitions are coming up and their elections are all that, you know, pick and choose where you can contribute and continue to make a positive change. And thank you for listening to me.
First of all, I want to thank you for coming. I didn't know you were going to speak today, Mike.
I didn't know either.
Or in spite of like the that you got.
Probably cost you your job.
No, I would have lost my job anyway. Brad's filed a year ago.
And truly, the will of the people is in process. It has been since January 24th of 23. And that's been wrong. The order is this case going to court or something. Going to the Board of Geographic Names. Going to the California Advisory Board of Geographic Names. All of this is a process that's actually the will of the people in process. It's happening.
Thank you for that. It is interesting. If it was just an up or down, like I even quibble with how the ballot question was worded. It was just yes or no, change the name. If it had been keyed to the actual federal process, is the name Kelseyville racist to an ethnic group? Well, it wasn't perfect, but at least 30% of the electorate who did vote said, yeah, it kind of is. And that should be enough showing. That actually overperformed. It overperformed given what the tribal population has to be 2%, maybe 3% of the whole county population. So to get roughly 30% of the popular vote, even on Measure U, advisory as it was, it's not nothing, right? So I'll bet. Anyway, I'll shut up now. I wish Mo could be here and encourage you. I know EJ and again, I feel so much for Jessica. She's probably our best soup at this point. The idea they're going to target her for a mess she did not create is just sad. So I understand why she might not feel comfortable being here, but I feel in my heart that her heart is with you. So thank you.
Hey, thanks for that shot of realism too.
Double dip.
Double dip.
Double dip. This voting thing, they tell us to vote. Majority rules, will of the people and all that. Well, out of the 40,000, what they call homo, were really Hinto, Hintil, Hinto. That means human being. Out of the 40,000 Hinto, at one time, only 500 survived out of that. Now they're telling us to vote because majority rules. Seems silly to me, right? And so, I'm not a singer, but I want to share something with you guys, okay? And don't laugh at me, please. I'm just gonna try my best. It's an old song my mom and dad used to do. And the Indians couldn't drink in the 50s. They couldn't drink in bars and they couldn't go in restaurants. Okay. So what they did is they had one of their light complected friends go out and buy the booze, and they would go from res to res, give it to friends, and they would sing all these old songs and stuff, right? And several of these excursions they took to the res, I was with them. And so I heard a lot of the songs and stuff. So I'll share one with you, okay? I'm gonna go to one first. Like I said, I'm not a singer, but I'll try. All right. Can you hear me? Yeah. All right. It's summertime and the living is easy. It's easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich and your mommy, she's good looking. So hush, my baby, don't to cry. One of these mornings, you're gonna rise up singing. You're gonna spread your wings and take to the sky. But until that morning, there ain't nothing can harm you. Oh no, 'cause your daddy and mommy standing by. And that's how I feel now about my mama.
Sounding better. Remember when you first started that?
Yeah.
That's a good song. That's what we talk about, our meetings, and stuff to get out there. Just a message and little things that help. So thank you guys for everything that you've done to help us. All the warriors and everything.
Hi, y'all. Hi. You probably don't know me or recognize me. I'm Rick, and I just blew into town. Hi, guys. Hi, y'all. I just blew into town here in September. And when I saw the thing on the ballot that said change the name from Kelseyville to Kanaka, I knew something was up. I didn't know what. But the other day, I heard somebody on the radio explain what was going on with Kelsey and Kelseyville and Stone. I was appalled, absolutely appalled on how this community cannot want to change the name of somebody in that pathetic of a human being. Excuse me for wanting to say bad to the dead, but to hell with them, because good riddance to bad rubbish.
Right.
So for all of the people that are here, I appreciate everything that you guys are doing for this. I'm just now beginning to be part of this community, and I just hope I can support you in any way I can, man. Peace.
Rick's a good bass player.
Okay.
I was pretty sure I wasn't going to be coming to this mic today. Just didn't feel like it, but after the wind started picking up, and then Clayton sang "Summertime," I thought I'd like to sing "This Land Is Your Land" with the help of all of you. And the way I'd like to have you help is sing one for the chorus. That's the easy part. I'll just, if you know all the words, sing with me, but it's the chorus. It's going to start out with the chorus. It's going to end with the chorus. There might even be a part in the middle. I don't know. We'll see. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. I roamed and rambled and followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond desert. All around me, a voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. When the sun comes shining, then I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving, and the dust clouds blowing. As the fog was lifting, a voice was chanting. This land was made for you and me. As I kept walking, I saw a sign there.
On the sign it said, no trespassing. But on the other side, it didn't say nothing. That side was made for you and me. In the squares of the city, in the shadow of the steeple, by the relief office, I seen my people. As they stood there hungry, I stood there asking, is this land made for you and me? Nobody living can ever stop me as I go walking that freedom highway. Nobody living can make me turn back. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. When the sun comes shining, then I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving, and the dust clouds blowing. As the fog was lifting, a voice was chanting, this land was made for you and me. All around me, a voice was sounding, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. Thanks for singing with me.
Where I was, everything was so play, they were just amazing. I can change, I cannot sing, I'm still, I just cannot, but I was in this bus station, and for some reason they asked me to sing a song from my country, and that's the song.
How many signs that say, you want to save Kelseyville? If you save Kelseyville, one, give out the true history what happened, and two,
So the changing the name, yeah, changing the name probably isn't going to happen this go around, but it is going to happen. Justice is going to prevail in the end, and we can't keep beating these folks up. So I think the best thing we can do right now is to just really get it into the lexicon, get it so, you know, people ask me now where I'm living, and I'll say the town I call Canocti. You know, maybe a year or two from now, I'll say the town of Canocti. But just start using it when I filled out the original application. One of the questions was, is the name Canocti currently in use, you know, in popular use? And I put no. But the next time the application gets filled out, all of us are going to be spreading the name. We'll start using the name Canocti, putting it down on your address, you know, return address, and then it's going to make it a reality. And then after that, you know, the BGN, you know, we'll see that it is in usage. But I'm going to read a poem by Wendell Berry. And he's got these Mad Farmer poems. And the Mad Farmer's a little outrageous, but this is the Mad Farmer flying the flag of rough branch seeds from the Union. From the union of power and money, from the union of power and secrecy, from the union of government and science, from the union of government and art, from the union of science and money, from the union of ambition and ignorance, from the union of genius and war, from the union of outer space and inner vacuity, the mad farmer walks quietly away. There is only one of him, but he goes. He returns to the small country he calls home, his own nation, small enough to walk across. He goes shadowy into the local woods and brightly into the local meadows and croplands. He goes to the care of his neighbors. He goes into the care of his neighbors. He goes to the potluck supper, a dish from each house for the hungry of every house. He goes into the quiet of early mornings, of days when he's not going anywhere. Calling his neighbors together into the sanctity of their lives, separate and together, in the one life of their commonwealth and home, in their own nation, small enough for a story or a song to travel across in an hour, he cries, "Come all ye conservatives and liberals who want to conserve the good things and be free, come away from the merchants of big answers whose hands are middled with power. Come away from the union of anywhere and everywhere by the purchase of everything from everybody at the lowest price and the sale of anything to anybody at the highest price. Come away from the union of work and debt, work and despair, from the wage slavery of the helplessly well employed. Come away from the union of self-gratification and self-annihilation, seed into the care of one for another, and for the good gifts of heaven and earth. Come into the life of the body, the one body granted to you in all time, in all history of time. Come into the body's economy, its daily work and its replenishment at meal times and at night. Come into the body's thanksgiving when it knows and acknowledges itself a living soul. Come into the dance of the community, join in a circle hand in hand, the dance of the eternal love of woman and man for one another, and of neighbors and friends for one another. Always disappearing, always returning, calling his neighbors to return, to think again of the care of the flocks and the herds, of gardens and fields, of woodlots and forests and the uncut groves, calling them separately and together, and calling, he goes forever towards the long restful evening and the croak of the night heron over the river at dark. So just a reminder, it's about caring for each other and caring for our community. And we all need to keep that in our hearts. I know I try to every day. Thank you.
A neighbor to this county wrote a song once, and it affected me. It moved me through all my ecology work, and it captures the feeling of preciousness that the earth can give you. I have dreamed on this mountain since first I was my mother's daughter, and you can't just take my dreams away. Now with me watching, you may drive a big machine. Well, I was born a great big woman, and you can't just take my dreams away without me fighting. This old mountain raised my many daughters. Some died young, some are still living. But if you come here for to take my mountain, I ain't come here for the giving. I have dreamed on this mountain since first I was my mother's daughter. And you can't just take my dreams away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Justin, however.
Hello, everyone. My name's Margo. I've only lived in the county about 5 years, but I was born and raised in California, which at a certain point in time was not usual. It's more usual now, but I'm kind of jealous listening to all this history because my dad did not know his dad, and I never met either of my grandfathers. My mother's father died young before I was born. About the best my dad would tell me about where we came from is that we're from a long line of Irish heathens. And if you think about the history of Europe, the Irish were the first people displaced, taken over by the Romans and Vikings and everyone else who came along after. In fact, if you want to name a European country that's never invaded anyone else or gone to war in a war of conquest, it's the Irish. It's true. So I'm going to do this song that I was inspired by Verge's first song. But before I do that, everything I've heard has reminded me of something the Dalai Lama said. He said that enlightenment comes in 1/10,000th of a second. And what that means is you got to be paying attention. So this is my song about dinosaurs and my own particular read on what's going on these days. Someone once said to me that, well, the brontosaurus, he was dying off. And he goes, yeah, but a dying brontosaurus can do a lot of damage in their death throes. And I think that's what we're seeing. You guys have drums. I love that.
Once upon a time, long, long ago, were pretty little creatures back when dinosaurs around. Daytime we'd spread, staying out of the way. We'd huddle together for another day. Dinosaurs fall. Dinosaurs are big. Dinosaurs are away. We just get squished. Monkey face. Might be put together. Dinosaurs fall. One day, big flash in the sky. They started going. We finally got a shot to make it to the top. That night we danced together. Dinosaurs fall. Father listens to you. What are you? We're all this together. Remember, dinosaurs fall. Remember, dinosaurs fall. Dinosaurs fall. Dinosaurs fall. And you know, sometimes songs come in and out of your consciousness. And I was listening to our local radio station. Got the sad news last month that Jesse Colin Young passed away. And made me think of this song that I think we could really use. I know you know the chorus, so let me- Here's the way we die. Make the angels cry. May not know why. Some may come and some may go. We will surely pass. We know one who brought us here. Trust and pass. Lady in the grass. The song I sing, you will understand. That you I have another one. Oh.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, that's what I got figured. Imagine. Oh no. For one thing, this guitar sounds really. All right, I'll do this one. I have a band. We play around the county. My name's Margo. The band's Margo and Friends. And one of my little things I like to tell people, if you're in the space with us, then you're our friends. That's how that works. So this has sort of become a theme song for us. It's called A Friend Like You. Just last week, an old friend, we both screamed. Oh, always goodbye. So caught up on the boots. Oh, we both laughed. Oh, standing outside. We forward to our next get together. Let's get it together. Now,
Oh, thank you. So wonderful. Oh, thank you. Past all the seasons, some folks say come and go. Our friendship still grows. And it's all, so all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.